To some men, even those who revel in bespoke suits with cuff buttonholes that really undo, or made-to-measure shirts with single-needle stitching and the snug caress of a hand-turned collar, even to some of these sartorial gourmets, the thought of walking around on feet cocooned in money somehow smacks of excess, more shameful than a passion for cashmere socks, and something they wouldn't care to admit to their accountants. Their misgivings are usually supported by the same argument. What could possibly justify the difference in price between shoes made by hand and shoes made by machine? Unlike the miracles of disguise that a tailor has to perform in order to camouflage bodily imperfections, the shoemaker's task is simple. Feet are feet. They're wrong, of course. What they don't understand, and will never understand until enlightened by experience, is the addictive combination of practical virtues and private pleasures enjoyed by the man who has his shoes made by artists. It all starts with a ritual of initiation, and like any good ritual, this one proceeds at a measured pace. You are not here to buy and run. You are committing your feet to posterity, and you must allow at least an hour for your first visit, maybe longer if your requirements are the kind that raise an eyebrow. But that comes later. First, you must meet your guide, the man who will escort you through the opening ceremony. In more humdrum establishments, he might be called the fitter or the head salesman. But this shop is one of the last outposts of late Victorian Baroque English, and he would probably prefer to think of himself as the purveyor. He will greet you courteously, but his eyes will not be able to resist flickering downwards for a brief assessment of your shoes. Nothing will be said, but you will be conscious, perhaps for the first time in your life, that another man is actively interested in your feet. You sit down and your shoes are taken off. They suddenly look forlorn and rather shabby. Don't worry about it. The purveyor is not concerned with them anymore. It's your feet that fascinate him. Having confirmed that there are two, of more or less the same size, he summons his acolyte, who may be a fresh-faced apprentice from the cobbler's bench or a wizened retainer. In either case, he carries a large, leather-bound book opened at 2 blank pages. The open book is placed upon the floor. You are asked to stand on it, 1 foot per page, and the purveyor kneels before you. Slowly, almost lovingly, he makes a map of each foot by tracing the 2 outlines onto the pages of the book. From those nearly prehensile big toes, round the mysterious knurls that embellish the little toes, along the sides and deep under the arches, not a single wrinkle or irregularity is left unrecorded. Once the maps are completed, the topographical survey can begin. Everything is measured: altitude of instep, curve of heel, contours and slopes of the metatarsal range. You might even be asked if you normally wear your toenails that length, because millimeters count. At last, you are allowed to step off the book and prepare yourself for decisions. Now is the time to choose the style of your shoe. While the choices are almost endless, it has to be said that you will not find Cuban heels, brass snaffles, 3-tone snakeskin overlaid broguing, or anything that might be considered a trifle gaudy. You, of course, have nothing like that in mind. What you want is a classic, timeless, brown lace-up shoe. Simple. All you have to do is decide on the leather: calf, cordovan, crocodile, brushed deerskin, the precise shape of the toe, almond, slightly squared, standard, rounded, the height of the heel, nothing too extreme, mind you, but an extra 1/8 of an inch might be arranged,